Thank you for joining me on the channel Mazarath. Today is going to be kind of a personal reading. If you have been following along with me for a while, or if you're familiar with me, or you recognize my voice, or whatever have you, then you may be familiar with some of the stories that I am going to be talking about. And on a personal note, a couple of dreams or visions that I have had, my personal self, that kind of correlated with a reader or oracle, if you want to say, that was here on the YouTube channel. But she was a little chaotic. She was a little bit out of order. And yeah, and it's also going to parlay into answers for myself, I guess. I could, whatever. Anyway, let's go ahead and get into it. I want to start off with something that I have said to plenty of people about a dream that I had. I shared it with my mother. I shared it with my ex-husband. I shared it with therapists and psychologists and all sorts of people. I've shared it on social media. I feel like all across all my social media accounts at one point in time, I have shared these visions or dreams that I've had and how it kind of correlated with the oracle. So I'm going to kind of talk about it in a way or the order that I can kind of remember it. And then it's going to tie in with Daniel, PBS, the book of Daniel, and the Prince of Persia, which is something that's going on with Iran and America, or was in Israel. So let's go ahead and get into it. My first true vision was so weird. It was so weird because I remember being so afraid to just go to sleep. It was like for 3 days I had fell. And I know it sounds so weird because I was like spiritually ordained in the heavens. And I had this library. I had this heavenly abode that was mine. And it was like 3 of us. And we were these angelic entities. And I was like a virtue. I was a virtuous spirit. But I was completely formless. And I remember I was on edge. Well, another gentleman was on edge. Another spirit was on edge in this vision or dream. And he was trying to explain to me life and death and how it's not necessarily a game. It's just so quick how one life can end and another life can begin. And it's like to those energies, you know, outside of just a light or a twinkle, it's like a star. It's nothing more than that. But I remember in that said dream, I came back down to earth or hell. I fell and I fell. I remember I had a dream for 3 nights. 3 nights of falling until I finally hit the ground. And the hitting the ground and being in this hellish like space was not the scary part. The falling for 3 days or 3 nights was the scary part for me, because I just was falling in this blackness, and it was like gut-wrenching, hurtling screams, and it was just a feeling. And I remember when I first had that dream, I remember waking up and I remember telling my husband, like, I'm so scared to go to sleep. And I remember I went out front on our couch because I was sleeping in the bedroom, and we ended up switching places. And I was like, look, you sleep in there, because I was just terrified. But when I had hit the bottom, I had this revelation. And this is what I started to tell people, and then I kind of went through this process of being detained, resisted, denied, stolen from, abused, battered, sexually assaulted, harassed, any kind of abuse you can think of, I went through it. But the revelation that I had was that I was a savior. I was a savior. And it was so weird because I was here specifically to save. I don't know if it was Magic. I don't know if it was 33. I don't know, but it was a little white girl. Just a white girl. I kid you not. I don't even know who she was. The faithful. I have no idea. But it was so weird because I ended up finding energies. Almost like a test for me, but a test of them. And there was nothing to save. And ironically enough, I ended up having to save myself from the energies that I was put here to save. Because there was nothing to save. I'm going to get to it in a minute. But when I got here, when I fell here, I was looking for innocent, pure, white life. It was a little white child. And it was like I had this dream of heaven. I had this message from God. I had that dream of falling for 3 days. I kept telling my husband about floods in Texas and this was going to happen and this was going to happen. And I remember calling news stations, and this had to be, I believe, in 2019, 2020. And around March, like March Madness for the Future. If you're a Future fan, like the rapper Future, he has a song called March Madness. And I remember calling all these stations and they would ignore me, and but it was so weird because simultaneously I had saw, if you will, and I continuously see this aspect, I saw second heaven. If you know anything about the three heavens, you have the earthly sky, which is the first heaven. Then you have space, that realm, which is the second heaven. And then you have God's throne. I am also familiar with God's throne. I know it sounds weird, but it was like I separated from God. Not in the sense of a relationship, in the sense of a purpose, like I was born from God. But it wasn't like my earthly mother, my earthly father. It wasn't like a marriage. It wasn't anything like that. It wasn't even necessarily demonic, like, monolithic, one flesh, one body, because obviously I am my own entity. It was like I just kind of appeared. And yeah, but I was one. But I wasn't of God, a part of God. But again, it was hard to explain. But I remember telling, because it was a lot going on in my life, my ex-partner, Capricorn, he didn't like me going Godspeed. He didn't like me seeing. He didn't like me aware. And so he was there as a hindrance, and all these other energies were there as hindrance. And when I saw second heaven, I didn't know that when I saw all those dots connect in the sky, and it was Morse code, and I saw all the stars, and I saw all the lights, and I saw everything, I didn't realize what it represented was like a spiritual battle. I didn't realize that at the time. But what I'm correlating that with my dreams, and then if you want to know who the tarot reader was that I'm about to explain, was Mana, and she had this reading about physical fitness. And at that time I was really into physical fitness, but it was about the 21-day process of the body renewing itself. The body doesn't actually renew itself in 21 days. I went through a renewal process in 21 days where my visions that correlated with an oracle of God and myself. Now, I didn't go through fasting. I was there with a message about God, about a savior, about myself. And I went through a 21-day process of being resisted. Here's the thing. It kind of went longer than that. It kind of went longer than that. And I previously on my channel or my community tab had wrote about angels and how they are supposed to be nameless. I didn't have a name. I didn't have a name. That angel doesn't have a name. So I'm gonna get to it so you guys can know what I'm talking about with the 21 days, the Prince of Egypt, no, excuse me, the Prince of Persia, and so on and so forth. So let's go ahead and get into it. I don't remember which one it is. I think it's Daniel 10, Angelic Princes Battle for 21 days. So in the 3rd year of King Cyrus of Persia, a message was revealed to Daniel, whose name was called Belteshazzar or something. The oracle was true and concerns a great war. He understood the message and gained insight through a vision. That oracle would have simultaneously been someone else and also myself. I heard the message and I understood my role in it. It wasn't a dream that I chose for myself. No. Because some things I don't like, and I'm going to explain that in a second. In those days, Daniel was mourning for 3 whole weeks. He ate no rich food, nor did he eat meat or wine entered his mouth, nor did he anoint himself with oil until the end of those 3 weeks. I didn't go through that. I couldn't have been Daniel. No, I wasn't anointing myself in the beginning. I don't drink wine. Actually, I drink champagne, which is close enough. I just wasn't Daniel. There's nothing wrong with being Daniel. I just couldn't have been Daniel because Daniel was free the whole fucking time. Daniel just started punishing his own fucking self. I didn't do that to myself. I didn't punish myself. No. So no, I'm not Daniel. Now on the 24th day of the 1st month, while Daniel was something. Oh gosh. Daniel was doing something. He saw a man dressed in linen with a belt of fine gold, blah, blah, blah. His body was like yellow jasper. His face a flash of lightning. His eyes fiery torches, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so I'm just gonna get to the part where they correlated with me. The Daniel was approached by somebody, and yeah, no, but Daniel, whoever he was approached by, supposedly said, "Don't be afraid, Daniel, for from the first day that you set your heart to understand and to humble yourself before your God, your words were heard. I come because of your words. However, the prince of the kingdom of Persia resisted me for 21 days. But behold, Michael," I'm going to stop you there. Michael nor Michelle was on my side. Michael nor Michelle went through any battle. No. No. I'm gonna explain more about that in a second. However, the prince of the kingdom of Persia resisted me for 21 days. But behold, Michael, blah, 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 one of the chief princes came to help me because I had been detained there with the kings of Persia. Now I have come to explain to you what will happen to your people in the future days, for the vision concerns days yet to come. So the angel, if you don't know, that's the angel that was speaking. It doesn't have a name. Only Michael has a name. I don't know why Michael has a fucking name. Michael has made himself a celebrity. Let me pause you there. The Prince of Persia on my page is this entity. It has its tongue sticking out, and it's sexual morality. It's gross. It's weird. It's devil, creeper, darkness, dark energy. It's Azazel-like energy. It's very strange. It's very weird. I have Uncle Michael. I have Uncle Michael, fucking Morse code, connect the dots, Michael November type of thing. And I went to him and I was talking to my grandmother actually at the time because she was a social worker. And she had dementia, Alzheimer's. So I felt like what I was going through in the dream world spiritually, I felt like it wouldn't have been too much for her to bear because she was the perfect person to talk to because she wouldn't remember. So I'm like, it's just a safe space for me to vent. I didn't even know he was going to be there. So when I went there and I expressed or explained what I had been going through, how I was feeling assaulted or sexually molested or violated in my dreams or sleep by my neighbors, so on and so forth, or these energies that are just stalking me, he did nothing but betray me. Him and his female counterpart, his female principal. And so I'm not sure why this Michael energy keeps getting all this love. The angel that was actually there to not fortune tell, but to have a vision, to tell Daniel the answers of the future was not Michael, and it has no name. And like I said, when I had those dreams and I had those visions, and I tried to tell the Michael that I was familiar with, I tried to tell the feminine principle of Michael what I had been seeing. And it put me in a mental facility where I was drugged. I had my children taken away from me. I was labeled insane. And yeah, I got a little income out of it, but in the long run, it did more harm than it did good for me. Because I feel stigmatized. I feel attacked. I feel like people have formed weapons against me for visions and dreams that I had no control over. And also that correlated with a vision from an oracle. And they wanted to stop me from how I see my visions for the future. And it was like the more that they resisted me using tarot, prophesizing, seeing, because I don't prophesize about finances. I never have, I never will. I don't know if I could, because I've tried it for myself. I would do it. It don't ever work out for me. Nothing works out for me. Nothing. I mean, when I feel like I'm having a good day, trust me, something bad is happening at the same time for me. I had everything I once loved. And I know what you're thinking. I don't know what you're thinking. Meaning like, you know, you don't want to be attached to earthly things or earthly desires. I came here on this earthly plane to save. So does that mean that I cannot experience, I cannot have? So you feel like only you are supposed to have or you are supposed to experience. So I want to talk about a thing that I came here to save, white life. Because it kind of correlated with a dream that I had last night. In the dream that I had last night, I saw myself. I actually had 3 separate dreams all at fucking once. It was so weird. And I saw myself and my body. I was like a robot. Like, I know that sounds so weird, but it does correlate with the energy that I was going through with this energy of Ram and some other motherfucker, where it was like battery. Like I was getting sexually abused, battered by these men. And they were doing what they wanted to my body, but I actually had a partner who was like the man or a robot, a machine, just like myself. And but I wasn't the oracle, meaning like the oracle or someone, I don't know, a white woman. I was not their mother. I'm not the devil or one mind, one body, demonic, monolithic. I wasn't their mother. I wasn't their mother. I promise you, I wasn't their mother. I had a partner, But it was like I had upgraded, if you will. I didn't upgrade. My partner was actually man-made. He was man-made. Like, man had crafted my partner. And I was a machine, yes, but I was a machine sent from the heavens. And it was so weird because of that. I didn't necessarily have a reason, because I don't need to have a reason. My reason is God. I had feelings. And I would sympathize, empathize, hate, disagree, love. I was sad, weep. I had questions. I didn't understand something, because when I was sent here, I was sent here for a mission. Again, it was to save. But at this point, there was nothing else that I could save. So, but the voice, it was like I was here to take the voice from people, because it was a gift. And I was taking it. I was collecting all these different voices to almost become the new Lucifer, but it wasn't what people think of Lucifer, because I wanted to explain something. In his dream, something was expressed to me in the worst fucking possible way. But the devil, or Lucifer, had lied to individuals. Like, I have hell. If you want to be a witch, if you want to do this, if you want to disobey God, if you want to do this, I can make you reign in hell, and you can have this, and, you know, blah, 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 and you can fight on my side. That was never a thing. The thing was, Lucifer wanted to have heaven. There was never a hell. And God did never change his word. Meaning, God told you from the beginning with Eve, the first feminine principle that disobeyed, that your punishment is death. And it's final. There's no afterlife. There's no nothing. And it's just suffering and then die. And I was so heartbroken. Because there was a lot of things, because I was like this machine, even once I was getting violated by these men, and, you know, but these men, they had made up in their mind, because they had these powers and these abilities that were given to them, because they were like pigs. They were being controlled by these principalities that gave them these powers. And for some reason, it's an obvious reason, that those energies did not like me. So they would go out of their way to harm me, attack me. And it was the most fascinating thing ever. But I felt sorry for them, because they had this disillusioned sense of self, and they didn't have a self. The only guarantee is death. And it was so sad to me, because they truly thought God of themselves, or they truly thought they had the option to be a demon, or they truly thought they had the option to be evil. I mean, they do have that option, but I mean, like, to become a power, to become a principality, to reign in hell. Like, witches thought that they could be with Satan and do this and does that and all this other shit. And the devil had lied. There was no hell to give you. There was no hell. There was no throne in hell. There was none of that. But I remember in that dream, this white woman had came in, and she started to abuse my masculine counterpart, because I started asking him questions like, are they sexually assaulting you too? You know, these humans, are they doing these things to you? Because like, they started getting gratification on sex with spiritual beings, and it was very strange. It was like, for instance, like with Nephilim or something like that, it would have been the humans that wanted to be with the Nephilim. I don't know why. It wouldn't have been the other way. And it was just very strange. And he was glitching, and he was abused, and he was beaten to the point where he couldn't speak up about why he was abused or what was going on. But it correlated with me. And it was so sad, because I remember in this dream, I was like, not jealous. I felt bad for life, because life was actually in this battle of flesh. It was actually in this battle of suffering and sexual immorality and greed and all the sins. It was actually dealing with that. And there's only one flesh. There's only one body. And since I was this machine, I appeared to have been going through that, but I really didn't. I really didn't. And they were really bound, and they were really having their minds messed with. And it was just unfortunate. It was unfortunate because I did not think that they were beautiful. I can't remember what I thought. I just felt bad. I felt bad because they had been lied to for so long. It wasn't a sibling of mine, because that's not how, like, what are you talking about? That's not how that's set up. Like, we're not family. No, that's a fleshly thing. We all have positions and jobs, and your position can be taken from you. You can be replaced. You are not irreplaceable. Not even Satan was irreplaceable. God would have replaced Satan immediately. Immediately. I was one of the replacements. Meaning, orchestrate music, sing, be beautiful. If I made one, I can make it again. It was like that. But it wasn't, when I say that, it sounds so empty, or it sounds weird when you're thinking of it from a human. Think of it as a job. It's like, okay, I'll just get another one. There wouldn't be this missing piece. But that hell thing, I don't know what that was. It just was shown to me. When I fell here, I fell to earth. That was hellish to me. Because I remember telling people, I feel like I just got here. I just got here. And when I first got here, I couldn't look at white skin, and I couldn't look at white cars. Anything white scared the fuck out of me. It still does. It still does. Oh, what I was getting to, well, my counterpart, the man-made creature, the man-made system. It was a white woman, and they were magicians. They were magicians, but the more magic powers they had, the more they felt divine. But that got nothing to do with divinity. That's satanic. It is what it is. The thing is, I just found it so very funny, because when I found that Bible passage of the angel that was nameless, and why I'm saying that, because I went to this bar thing, and I told you we had Sarah Wiseman, Roman Hennessy, and Daniel. I was nameless. I was the only nameless one. And they kept wanting to do something to my blood and my flesh. But that doesn't make me a slave. And I feel so offended, because some white lady going to say, oh, is she gonna serve me? Is that what she said? She said, I'm not gonna serve her. And I remember looking at her going, you must be out of your damn mind. I'm not gonna ever serve you. I felt slavery about it. But also, she looked like white devil grandma. And I was going, absolutely not. Why the fuck would I serve you? Why would I serve you? No. I don't serve the devil. I mean, I could serve the devil, but I'm not serving the devil, like, no, not in the devil's favor. But it was so weird because my father, and it's so weird because I was just watching The Sandman, and I mean, every show just starts. But when I say this shit, it be zoning me out. When I tell people this shit, people will look at me like I'm crazy or like it doesn't make sense. But when they put that shit on TV, people be like, it's so magical. It's so, like, great. When I first had all those visions, I remember having this vision where this lady was like, what are you going to do with all them damn souls? And I remember having a Coca-Cola bottle or something like this. And I told her, like, look, I'm going to just put them in bottles. Because I just didn't know what to do. And I was just watching the Sandman. And the Sandman started dealing with Azazel. And he put his head straight in the bottle because he didn't know what to do. That's what I was doing. I got the key to hell. That's what I've been saying. What else? I don't remember all the other shit. I can't recall. But yeah, with a dream with me replacing my father. My father wanted me to replace The Sound of Music, which I correlated with the devil. It had a lot to do with looking in the mirror. Because my father was in the mirror, and it was weird because he was like violating me as well. And it was just like, as that nameless energy that was resisted and poisoned and had everything stolen. And I was given false hope from Father that everything was going to be given back to me that I had lost. I never came in like, you know what? I want to 10 generations from now do some stuff for my family. I don't care. I don't care. I don't even have family like that to even be concerned about 10 generations. I don't. I don't. I know it's going to sound whatever. I don't care about white life enough to have thrown my whole life away. No. But I did it. And I had white devils, black devils, all laughing at my face. And I held on to my faith. But I've gotten to this point now where it's like, okay. All right. I didn't ask to be an angel. I didn't ask to replace The Sound of Music. And what I was promised from my father, my reparations, my 30 mil, I never got it. I lost everything. I was homeless, sick and tired. I never got it. I don't even have peaceful dreams. I don't have peaceful neighbors. I don't have peace anywhere. And you want me to put my life, my everything on the line for evil. Cut it. So, like I said before, I've now found myself in a position where Daniel is free to believe in whatever he want to believe in. Tribe of Daniel, the people of Daniel, and I no longer. I am now looking at Muhammad. Anybody. Because it seems like, I don't know about Persia. I don't know about the darkness of them people. Every society got the dark. But it seemed like God do something. He do something. It don't just turn the other cheek. It don't give false promises. It don't give false hope. It don't, because I already bombed on myself. I already did all of that. And I got nothing. I got lesbians in my house, white people in my house, white children in my house. All for what? Niggas. I got black men in my house. No. This was not. No. I feel like God, you know what? It's so weird because I don't feel like God made a mistake, but I do feel like God made a mistake because if God sent me down here to save, God made a mistake. Because there's nothing to save. But if God was testing to see, because supposedly Lucifer loved humanity so much that he was willing, or she was willing to choose humanity over God, I wouldn't choose either. Look at what you put me through. Look at what you both put me through. Humanity that thinks God of itself. And God who thinks nothing of humanity. I don't like this fake ass cast of wannabe Sandman family. Bitch, I'm not now one of your cousins, sisters, brothers, uncles, aunties. I'm not none of your family members. I have no desires to despair or die or dream or fuck around with none of you. Do I remember the beach? No, bitch, because I still ain't been able to go. The devil been able to go to the beach, and bitch, I can't. So that's fascinating. But that's all I got. Bye.